What is up, guys? It's ya boy, Rick. The line between light and dark is so very thin. Cactus here. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button to support the channel, and let me know what you think my next intro name should be. That comment section is out of control. Alright, today we are going to be taking a much closer look at the brand new Season of the Lost featured exotic weapon, and that is the Lorentz Driver Linear Fusion Rifle. This thing is available immediately if you buy the Season's Pass, or at level 35 if you're a free-to-play player. And this is one of the craziest, most unique exotic weapons I've seen in a very long time. Now, what most YouTubers are going to do is play a couple Crucible games and put out a video. But ya boy ropes 5 other people into going through the entirety of the largest raid in Destiny 2 history, Last Wish, all utilizing this brand new exotic to see how it really performs in an endgame challenge. So, let's start here with what exactly does this exotic do? So, the intrinsic perk is Lagrigan Sight, I think. This weapon marks targets with an automated targeting system. Final blows on marked targets generate a telemetry pattern. Picking up telemetry patterns grants bonus ability energy. Collecting 3 telemetry patterns without dying grants this weapon bonus damage for a long duration. It also has another unique perk here called Anomaly. A precision final blow with this weapon creates an implosion that pulls in nearby enemies and damages them with an additional detonation. Whew, a lot going on here. So let's begin the first encounter against Kalli. So starting things off, of course, you're going to need to defend your plate. And this is where we first see this exotic's ability in action. So it's going to randomly target a nearby enemy, or sometimes it seems not so nearby, somewhat far away enemy. And then if you go and kill that enemy, it's going to drop a floating tag. When you pick this tag up, you can actually see how many you have on the front of your gun just below the barrel. And then once you have 3, you get this damage bonus. In fact, you get a full 30 seconds of a 50% damage bonus. This is no joke. And as you've seen in the background gameplay, you can actually mark and defeat targets and collect tags all without having this weapon out. It can be stowed away, you can be using your primary, and it'll still work. So when you do take it out, it'll get that damage bonus. However, there's definitely some problems with this system. First and foremost, if someone kills the enemy that you have targeted, you do not get any sort of drop. So that means there's kind of a big competition between all 6 players who can actually kill their marked target, because it'll often actually mark the same enemy for multiple players if you're using this same exotic. Not only that, but timing is a huge issue as well. You can see that I finish my plate, I grab my 3rd pattern, I'm ready to go, and I look over and I see my teammate is nowhere near completing his plate. So then I'm kind of screwed out of this damage bonus. But it turns out against the boss Kalli, as you can see, even without a damage bonus, you're doing a pretty considerable amount of damage for a crit, around 48,000 damage. Now, if you are able to have that buff going, as you can see, you're hitting for over 70,000 damage, and that for a special weapon is actually kind of insane. And you can see at the end of the day, we got the 1 phase against Kalli, so this weapon is capable of getting a 1 phase. The only issue is just the inconsistencies with the damage increase. Obviously, you want as many people to have it as possible, but timing it properly is really hard to pull off. With that being said, if 1 or 2 people have it, that might just be good enough. But with all that being said, again, we still got the 1 phase, and I think that deserves a 7.5 out of 10. But moving on from there to the second encounter, we have Shiro Chi. Now here, we gotta do 1/6 of her health or else we wipe. Now of course, there's gonna be a lot of ads here as well, thank goodness, because it allows a lot of us to gain that damage bonus right off the bat. And as you can see, after missing by nanometers a few times, I finally got a headshot, and I'm doing 72,000 damage with that damage bonus active. Now here's something else important to know about that damage bonus. If it is active and you kill a marked target and pick up the pattern, as you can see, it simply extends the damage bonus. So it goes all the way back to 30 seconds. But in this encounter, it's not all about boss DPS. Ad clearing matters as well, and this thing is actually pretty darn good at ad clearing thanks to that anomaly perk. Pulling all of the, nearby thralls into the center and then exploding to kill them all, that's actually really powerful. This thing feels like a mini graviton lance in that regard. So it's good at damaging the boss. We were always able to get the damage cap on Shiro Chi. And it's also pretty darn good at ad clearing every time you get a precision kill, and with the catalyst, it's any kill, you're going to decimate nearby enemies as well and incapacitate them when you're pulling them into the center. That is a really powerful combo. And so overall, against Shiro Chi, I'm going to give this thing an 8 out of 10. But continuing from there, we have another raid boss fight against Morguth, and here we're going for that one phase. So again, you are killing ads at the beginning. In fact, the little explosion is perfect here because all the ads spawn kind of in one little area, so you can just clear entire waves with one single precision shot. That's pretty nice. But as we move forward to the boss fight, you're going to see another feature of this weapon, and that is the longevity of the patterns that drop. So I got 2 patterns, and then I was trying to wait around for the third before picking it up to actually damage Morguth. It ended up not working, unfortunately, and it seemed to not drop a pattern when I went and meleeed an enemy as well that was marked, so that was frustrating. But that aside, you can see that this pattern is lasting a ridiculously long time on the ground. It will eventually disappear, but this will hopefully let you get the timing for getting that damage boost going into something like a boss fight where you need it. But even with that being said, when we actually damaged Morguth, as you can see, only a few of us had that damage bonus, but holy crap, we still absolutely deleted Morguth. It should be noted that again, this weapon does a reasonable amount of damage with no damage bonus, but if you can get it to work, it absolutely skyrockets in DPS. So again, only a few people need to have it active for it to be pretty darn powerful. And therefore, I've got to give it another 8 out of 10. But moving on from there, the next encounter here is the Vault encounter. This one's always interesting because we don't have a boss fight, we just have killing a bunch of ads and some powerful mini-boss knights. So, again, the ad clearing capabilities definitely come up. It was pretty fun clowning on all of the spawning acolytes and thralls, really effective against that. And against the knights, pretty darn decent as well. I'm not going to claim it deletes them, but, in 1 or 2 shots, you stun them, and then you can usually finish them off in no problem. But with that being said, it is going to take like 4 or 5 shots to do that. The problem with this encounter, however, though, is that it marks targets in the most ridiculous areas, right? It marks targets, as you can see, behind the wall that you can't go through. It marks targets on the complete other side of the map, like behind you. You don't even know they're marked. The whole marking system in this room is worse than it has ever been. Like in the times before, sometimes you can get that mark, but here it just seems like most of the marks are like impossible to get. It's always the furthest away, most annoying enemy that you can't get to. And so because of that, even though pretty decent against the ads, pretty decent against the knights, it just doesn't function well in this room, and therefore I've got to give it a 6 out of 10. But moving on from there, we have the big daddy of damage phases against Riven. And we going for that cheese. How much damage can this new exotic do in that short period of time? This is a great test of total DPS. So, against Riven, I made sure to get the damage bonus. You can see that I'm literally camping the tag until Riven comes out. And again, the fact that those patterns last on the ground for so long allows me to pull this off. And as you can see, with that damage bonus, I'm hitting for a pretty impressive over 50,000 damage. And it was closer to 57 if you did get Weapons of Light. I missed it because I was on the other area of the map. Doesn't matter, you get my point. Because at the end of the day, it really didn't matter. We weren't even able to get Riven to half health. And if we look at the damage numbers here, we have a very interesting story. So, myself, Nova, and Cup all got the damage bonuses. So only 3 out of 6, and that's with us communicating like crazy. We were going, okay, I've got one marked, leave it, okay, I've got it, move on. Like, we were really trying as hard as possible to get everyone a damage bonus, but again, we only managed 3, which is really the problem behind this gun. You can see though, the 3 people that did a considerable amount of damage, all doing well over 400,000 damage. Now, ignore Oscar and Amateur, I don't know what the heck they were doing, but ATP was DPSing the whole time but didn't have a buff. Again, just wasn't able to get it despite the communication, and that shows you the difference between no buff, 260,000 damage, and then buff, well over 400k. So again, this damage buff is considerable, but because of the hoops you have to jump through, it just really didn't pan out in terms of an effective DPS strategy against Riven. Therefore, 4 out of 10. And guys, we have one more encounter, the Queen's Walk. Here, this thing is surprisingly effective. There's a lot of areas where you are shooting, especially the phalanx taken across the map, and you really want something like a linear fusion rifle. Not to mention, if you do get teleported inside, holy crap, this thing is amazing at spawn killing all of the thrall that spawn in there. Like, it is really, really good at ad clearing. That's something I want to drive home. So in the Queen's Walk, I actually really enjoyed using it, and therefore I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10. I was gonna say 7, but I think it deserves an 8. So overall, within this raid, very interesting weapon, really quite powerful, honestly, if you can get it to work. We were able to one-phase every single raid boss except for Riven, but getting it to work is definitely a challenge. This is not something that just kind of activates on its own. You have to really go out of your way to get this damage buff. And because of that, I think overall, I've got to give it a 7 out of 10. It's certainly above average, but the hoops keep it from going any higher on the rankings. Guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKakis. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.